Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Friday, the 12th of February. Today on the show, Twitch stats, Kanye West, and musicians and composers who are actually talented. Come at me, Kanye. Come at me! Alright, here's what's been making headlines. Bungie made a couple of big announcements about Destiny during their quarterly earnings call. The MMO shooter will be receiving a big update this year, which according to community manager David Deej, will be larger than last year's The Taken King and will include new gear and a big bump in light level cap. That update is expected before June. However, a more significant announcement from overnight was that a full sequel to the game is in development and will be coming in 2017. I wonder if they'll follow Titanfall's lead and actually include a story in their sequel. Come at me, Punchy! Moving on to another game announcement, Activision has confirmed that there will be a new Call of Duty game this year. Shocking! And it's Infinity Ward's turn to deliver the annual shooties. The studio's most recent effort was 2013's Ghosts, which really pushed the envelope with its inclusion of a dog and some fish, which were scared of guns. Moving on to another game announcement, Ubisoft has confirmed that there will be a new Watch Dogs game and it will arrive within the next 13 months. In fact, between now and the end of March 2017, Ubisoft should have For Honor, South Park The Fractured But Whole, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, and this new Watch Dogs game out the door. And thankfully, no Assassin's Creed. Whew! Come at me, Ubisoft! And Riot Games is axing Dominion mode from League of Legends. Fewer than 0.5% of League players regularly play the game variant, and Riot believes that a portion of even that small figure may actually just be bots. The mode will be playable until the 22nd of February. I'm joined now by Good Game creator and executive producer Janet Sydski Gator to discuss our final news story.
Hello, Nick.
Welcome.
Thank you.
No one says anything after I say, hello.
Why?
Never. Twitch has released its annual retrospective report for 2015 and it's full of juicy data. Now there are some big stats here. They put it out in a big sort of nice infographic things. I'll just rattle off some of the key stuff. During the year, 459,366 years worth of content was streamed. And there was an average of 550,000 concurrent viewers with a peak of close to 2.1 million viewers. And this is double the peak of concurrent viewers of 2014.
And that's the interesting fact, isn't it?
The doubling?
The doubling in a year. And that concurrent session with over 2 million was, the sort of Super Bowl, if you like, of esports, wasn't it? It was the final of the ESL and something to do with LOL as well.
Yeah.
So that's probably a big lesson for them, that they want to start creating these big weekends where there's going to be this real reason why millions of viewers are going to want to tune in.
Well, I know they have a big part of, including in the sort of stats and stuff that they were talking about, is the esports coverage that they do, because they have League of Legends, they have Dota, they do Hearthstone championships, they do put big stuff on the Heroes of the Storm as well as going on there, and I think that obviously that's a big key area to sort of focus on, particularly with places like MLG not doing nearly as well as they previously have. Everyone is going to Twitch for that stuff.
Yeah, and you can see why. I mean, it is a fantastic thing, isn't it? That anywhere in the world you can tune in concurrently with other gamers who are passionate about your particular esport and watch it. But I think we do need a bit of perspective on this.
Yeah.
Because
what have you brought to bring everybody down?
No, not bring everyone down, but just to put a little bit of perspective on it. If you think about just the Super Bowl that happened, just last week, on the television, there was 111.9 million people watching the Super Bowl. That's a huge amount of people watching. Right, so 111
football game.
Watching a stupid football game. I mean, obviously, they've got an amazing growth arc ahead of them. Yeah. And good on them. I mean, they're delivering a service, they've got the content, it's just going to grow and grow and grow.
And I think also it's not just the viewers. I think the really amazing thing is that at their peak, they had 2.1 million broadcasters in a single month. So it's not just it's not these sort of enormous tournaments where everyone's watching one game. It's you've got 2 million people in 1 month who have gone, I want to play a game and have people watch me do it. And I'm always fascinated. Whenever I'm on Twitch, I watch the big stars doing their thing, and then I scroll down sort of 10 pages, and I go down to where people have just like 7 or 8 viewers, and I just watch what they're doing, and I'm the guy lurking sort of like in the 7 viewer streams, and I always think my name would just be popping out going like, NichBoy is watching just like some random like Afghani streamer who's looking at like Pokemon Blue.
I love that. It's blown away that barrier to entry that major broadcasters put in the way.
Yeah.
You know, like if you wanted to have something made in the past, you had to go with your bit of paper and you had to beg for funding, and then it was, you know, blah blah. That's all gone
You
now.
still have to do that. Like
I
in this
still have to
building,
do
there's
that.
still that exists, and Twitch is something where you can bypass all that.
You can bypass all of that. You can create great content, and you can be up there live to air and gather viewers. Do good stuff. People will come and watch. It's just such a brilliant time to be a broadcaster.
It totally is. And even if you're not into video games, one of their biggest events last year was when they streamed the painting. And that was like a huge amount of viewers watching people like paint things. Incredible. So Twitch, year over year, getting bigger and bigger, and I think that's great. Moving on now. Thing of the day. During an event to launch his new album, Kanye West showed off the first footage from his upcoming video game about his mother traveling through the gates of heaven. The game is called Only One and is expected to go for as long as it takes a woman to walk through a set of gates. And now it's talk through time where you suggest a topic and we talk through it. Today's topic comes in from Robin. And many people ask this, but we're going with Robin because Robin, you're our favorite. Music has come a long way in games, from blips to orchestral scores. It plays a large role in portraying tone and atmosphere and immersing the player more fully into the game world. What do you think is some of the most iconic game music, and what are some of your personal favorites? Janet, we will start with iconography.
Yes.
What is the music you think of when you think of video game music? History.
Goodness me. When I think of iconic video game music, then my immediate thought goes to the Nintendo themes.
Yes.
The big Nintendo themes. The genius about those themes, all of which I'm sure the viewers are hearing through their head now, are that they were completely scalable.
Yeah.
Like if you've gone to see any of the, the Zelda Symphony, or you've seen an orchestra play those iconic.
Yeah, like you've got you've got your
the
Mario themes, Zelda, that sort of stuff.
All of them, even Wave Race.
Yeah. And but you're saying like when you that music actually holds up when it's taken out of just the chiptune form, sort of the 8-bit sort of music thing. You can put a full orchestra on and the music still actually holds up itself.
Yeah, I mean their genius is there really, aren't they? I mean they've evolved that music through the technological advancements as well, and it creates in me exactly the same feeling when I hear the modern orchestral interpretations as it did back in the 8-bit.
Yeah.
And I love them both.
That's really interesting because I never had a Nintendo when I was growing up. So I've played Super Mario Brothers, I've played Zelda, like I've played all those games, but I played them when I was a teenager or early into my adult life. So I don't have the nostalgia for that music. I recognize that music and I go, oh, that's great music, but it doesn't remind me of a childhood. It reminds me of that game.
Yeah, right.
Like it doesn't remind me of a moment, but I think it still is. It's still massively iconic, and I think part of it, beyond the fact that it's just really good music, and I'm thinking specifically Super Mario Brothers theme, the Legend of Zelda Overworld theme, and for me, the Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone.
Was that your childhood one?
I played a lot of Sonic when I was a kid,
right.
yeah, and that to me, that makes me think of, that is my nostalgia. I think of me and my cousins sitting down playing that. I think beyond the fact that it's good music, it also was the only sound kind of in that game beyond some bops when you're jumping on something. So music was pushed way more to the front. You start Mario, you hear that theme straight away. There's not a soundscape of everything else.
Yeah.
Whereas music now is part of the background and the texture of a game often. Like there's still the big feature pieces, but you've got way more music, but you've also got the sounds of birds and trees and rustling and gunfire and all that sort of stuff, right?
Do you think Skyrim is iconic, music-wise?
I totally think that, yeah, absolutely. And I do think that it calls attention to itself when it wants to be called attention to itself. But when you play Mario, you hear that music on repeat over and over and
Yeah.
over again. Like it is the entire soundscape except for the sound effects of you jumping on someone. And I'm not taking away from it. I'm going that actually, I think part of the reason it's so drilled into us is that was the sound of the game.
That repeating theme thing I think is really interesting. You know, we had a chance to talk to Austin Wintory, the composer behind Journey. He was talking about the specific requirements of video game music that you need to be able to kind of loop it.
Yeah,
and for
because
it
the
not to
player's not
become-
necessarily always moving forward
exactly.
to the next music
and
moment.
music is traditionally a linear experience.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when I was like, oh yeah, mind blowing. That was, I mean, you know, stupid me, but I hadn't really thought about it in those terms before, which made me even more appreciative of some of the brilliant themes that we see in games.
Absolutely, and I think when we moved from chip tunes and now we're sort of in full orchestra, but that happened actually later than I thought. It wasn't until 1998.
Really?
Yeah, with Heart of Darkness was the first game to have an original score played by an actual physical real-life orchestra, which seems late to me. I would have thought it would have been earlier than that, but, you know, apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, certainly game music was more sophisticated than chip tunes by then.
Exactly.
But maybe not recorded it with a real orchestra.
Actual people sitting there playing
Don't
instruments.
remember that game.
No, I don't. It was made by a studio called Amazing Studio.
Oh, okay, right.
And
Well, maybe
I don't know where they are now.
maybe the Pocketeers
Yeah,
can enlighten us on how good that music was.
Yeah, drop a link into the comments if you have a way to play that game. But now we've got amazing music in almost all games.
Yes.
What are some of your personal favorites?
Well, actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. My absolute all-time favourite.
Is it Heart of Darkness?
No, actually, it isn't, surprisingly. It is the opening theme to Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh right,
Oh,
yeah.
I just,
Again, because of nostalgia?
No, it's just such an uplifting little
It's beautiful,
tune,
isn't it?
and it had that in it. Oh man, I just loved it. But then in more recent times, probably Skyrim and definitely Journey.
Yes.
I loved Journey, like tear, emotion-inducing music. Such an integral part of the whole experience.
Well, with no dialogue, barely any sound effects.
Yeah,
Like there's a
barely
bit of
any
soundscape,
HUD,
but
yeah.
it is all about the emotional music. Yeah.
And again, going back to Austin and him talking about that, which I'm sure you can put the link in the bottom so you can watch it again, just how he iterated in it, and then it went back to the developers, and then he had another go, and I think you can hear that love.
Yeah, and the time that's being put into that game. Yeah.
And the other one that I really just want to have a quick mention of is, like there's soundtracks, right?
Yeah.
The games, and the FIFA one is always kind of fun to listen to and stuff. But I really love the soundtrack to Little Big Planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, there was I heard the song yesterday. And it's Sleepyhead by Passion Pit.
Right.
And it was the song for one of the first trailers of Little Big Planet or Little Big Planet 2.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is joy. It's actual joy. And I love, and the pairing of like that music with that game, which that game is actual joy. Like that game is so cute and adorable. And I think soundtracks shouldn't necessarily be overlooked when you've compiled a series of music that you haven't necessarily composed, but you've put together like something that represents the game. I think is always really special.
And how wonderful it must have been for them to have gone, here it is, that track.
Yeah,
because you know what it's like when you're looking for the perfect song to accompany, whatever it happens to be in your life, and then you find
a mixtape.
A mixtape, good old mixtapes.
I loved all the music in Little Big Planet, I think, actually. For me, I love Skyrim as well. Streets of Whiterun is a gorgeous, gorgeous soundtrack. I think Skyrim did a good job of, most of the time, like, I often don't listen to the music in games because it's in the background and I'm not paying attention to it as usually you should, but sometimes things stand out. And I think Skyrim had that. A smaller game that I played on my iPad was Swords and Sorcery.
Right.
From
Sworcery.
Oh, yeah, right. It's SW. Yeah.
Okay, right.
And it's like a pixelated game thing, but Jim Guthrie did the music for that. It's this really cool synth stuff, and I actually, that's the soundtrack I listen to when I want to focus on something. Right. I still go back to that. LA Noire had great jazz.
It did.
Which you don't really hear in video games that much.
Yeah.
I think the soundtrack to that was amazing, and I think the upcoming Mafia game may have the same sort of sound where we're not often in that time period in video games, so hearing different kinds of music. And then going to what you said about the looping music, Braid had fantastic music
Yes, it did.
And part of what Jonathan Blow did with Braid was he wanted to find music that sounded great and matched the mood and theme of his game, but also it had to sound good when played in reverse, because half the game you're going in reverse. And so every song in there can be played forwards and backwards, and it sounds as interesting or, you know, completely different, but also just strange and bizarre. Played backwards, and that was like a defining thing for him. And I thought that was so fascinating to think about that in that terms as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the song from the Persona 4 Golden Menu makes me happy in my heart. John, play a little bit. This is my happy face. All right, let us know in the comments, guys, what music makes you happy or sad or angry or heartfelt or whatever in the comments below. What do you love music-wise in video games? And while you're there, suggest a talk through for Monday. And while you're on the internet, check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at GoodGameTV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierreth, at GG, edit. Monkey. She's at Sydski, and there are links to everything I just said in the description below. Thank you to everyone who joined me for my Firewatch stream yesterday. It was amazing. Have you played that game yet?
No.
You're going to adore it. Things got really emotional really quickly, and then I was like the strong and silent type when things got weird and sexy. You can check that out. It's on our YouTube page, and I'm finishing off the game next Tuesday on our Twitch channel, so join us there. And today's gameplay video is Level 22, Gary's Misadventures. It's a game you probably have never heard of, but I think it's a pretty fun episode. It's on YouTube as well. You had something you wanted to do.
I did, because I brought you back, because, you know, I don't know, look at all of these.
Yeah.
And so I brought you back one.
Did you?
I did, from Mexico.
Mexico?
Yes, from Mexico. This was made by...
It's way too tiny.
I know, well, I didn't want to kind of... You might not like it.
I love it.
It's from outside the Frida Kahlo Museum in Mexico City.
It's
handmade by a gorgeous little Mexican.
It's made out of her eyebrow hair. That's fantastic.
Does it
Thank you
fit?
so much.
Oh,
No, it does fit.
It
It
does
totally
fit.
fits. That's fantastic.
So
Oh,
there you go.
thank you.
But don't tell Barjo and Hex.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank God they
keep it
don't watch
between
the
us.
show. All right. That's it for today's episode of Pocket. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Kelly Claridge. Thank you very much, Kelly. If you made a thing, send it in. Until tomorrow, NichBoy out. Not tomorrow, Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
Sydski out.